Hello everyone, my name is Miranda Thomas and I will be facilitating the staff development training. I know we are all excited about beginning the new year and meeting all of our new students. Each student always brings something new to the classroom, affecting its personality and overall variety. We as teachers want to encourage diversity in our classrooms as students will encounter a variety of people and places throughout the rest of their lives. One of the most important factors in education today that encourages diversity is inclusion. I'm sure you're all familiar with inclusion, or at least have heard of it. But today we are going to discuss it in depth and how it affects the general education classroom as well as general education teachers. So what is inclusion exactly? A common mix-up for teachers is using inclusion and mainstreaming interchangeably. However, both terms actually mean very different things. Inclusion is when students with disabilities are primarily placed in the general education classroom or the least restrictive environment, and are the general education teacher's responsibility in accordance with IDEA mandates or Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It is seen as a student's civil right to be placed in the environment where they would be placed if they didn't have a disability. Students would only receive services in another setting if deemed absolutely necessary by the student's IEP or the Individualized Education Plan, and are instead provided with additional in-class supports within the general education classroom. These supports can come in many forms, such as a teacher aide or special education co-teacher, disability-specific technology aids, and any other accommodations to help the students thrive within the general education classroom. In order for students to be taken out of the general education classroom, extensive evidence of preventative measures must be provided to even begin thinking of moving them to a more restrictive environment. Mainstreaming, however, has very different objectives from inclusion. Mainstreaming is exposing a student with disabilities to the general education classroom only when viewed as appropriate or for only part of the instructional day. Students are seen more as visitors to the general education classroom who have to earn the right to stay there by not misbehaving or causing disruption to the general education classroom and its teacher. If students are seen as becoming too much trouble, then they are sent out of the general education classroom and back to the more restrictive special education setting. So, big difference. After all that information, you may be a little overwhelmed and maybe even nervous about ensuring that student success with your general education classroom. Do not fret. I will address some common concerns of most general education teachers with inclusive classrooms. Your first question might be, where can I find information on IDEA and the laws it enforces? Your best resource for this kind of information would be the Region 18 Legal Framework website. Simply search online Region 18 Legal Framework and it should pop up. Here you can find any information on IDEA and tons more. You can search for specific school districts and what services or resources it has to offer. If you have parents seeking advice or information on their child's disability and what services or rights IDEA provides them, you can refer them here. The website even offers workshops and trainings, certainly a one-stop shop for all of your IDEA legal information needs. Another concern you may have might be, who can help me? You, as the general education teacher, are responsible for your special needs students' instruction, but that doesn't mean you won't have help. There are a number of people that you will need to collaborate with in order to ensure your student succeeds. Some examples of these people would be special education teachers or co-teachers, your school administration, and your students' parents. All of these entities desire success for your student because he or she is their student too. As a general education teacher, all you will need to do is facilitate a positive environment for effective and open communication between all of these entities, as well as ensuring lots of planning time between you and your co-teaching staff. Probably the biggest concern of most general education teachers is behavior management. So you may be wondering, How do I manage behavior issues? The number one rule is to always stay calm. Be aware of and understand your student's disability. Knowing this information, you can begin to discern what the student's function of behavior is. A function of behavior is essentially a need that the student communicates through their behavior. This need could be something like attention seeking, avoidance, or gaining power or control over the student's environment. Once you have determined the student's need through observation over a length of time and analysis of data collected, you can create intervention strategies that account for both the disability as well as replacing the negative behavior with a positive behavior that still caters to the student's need. Another great online resource for teachers is the Intervention Central website. This website is full of articles with scientifically proven intervention strategies to give any teacher help and ideas on how to help students manage their behavior. Hopefully this addresses some of your main concerns, but as I said, you're not alone. You will have lots of help along the way because everyone wants the same thing, student success. You also may be surprised how many teaching strategies you already employ that are just as effective for students with special needs as they are for students without. Examples of these may be a daily schedule or a set of objectives that are clearly posted and updated every day. You may also have a clear set of classroom rules posted up on the wall. These are two effective examples of structure. Students who have difficulty sustaining attention or have difficulties with language comprehension, among many other disabilities, benefit extensively from well-structured classrooms. Students with IEPs are already familiar with clear objectives being set for them, so using these strategies of clearly posted objectives for daily activities and direct classroom rules that are enforced will enable them to generalize what is expected of them in your classroom and essentially set them up for success. Another strategy you may already have in place is some form of reward system. Rewarding good behavior with things like stickers, free time, and even just praise can go a long way with students with disabilities, especially behavior disorders. As discussed earlier, some students' behavior can communicate a need, which could be attention seeking. By simply praising a student for exhibiting good or on-task behavior, you are positively reinforcing that need. And by creating a positive environment for your students, they are more likely to continue that positive behavior. By staying informed, effectively communicating with those involved, and being proactive in encouraging positive behavior, inclusion within the general education classroom can be successful for any general education teacher. As someone once said, good teaching is good teaching, no matter how diverse your classroom may be.